Happy Monday, folks. So, over the weekend on various news shows, we saw various Biden communicators defend inflation and the economy and the $4 trillion social welfare entitlement spending and tax hiking and fossil fuel destroying bill that they argue will actually reduce skyrocketing inflation. So it's a tough job arguing that more spending will hold down inflation, or that much higher taxes will stimulate the economy, or there's nothing they can do about high gasoline prices, that is, except to allow American producers to produce. But the fun thing about the Biden defense, that this big government socialist bill will actually lower inflation, is that outside the White House and the executive branch of the Biden administration, there is no living human being that agrees with this view. No one. Just check out the polls. Just check out the liberal polls, like the Washington Post poll. Right after the infrastructure bill was passed last week, Biden's job approval sunk to 41%, with a roaring 39% approval on the economy. Republicans even have a 10-point lead in the generic ballot for Congress. Now, if WAPO is posting those kinds of numbers, I'd say that's a bit of a warning to the Bidens, though it appears they're not hearing it. Now, we've had a lot of spending, about $4 trillion emergency spending last year, which I thought last year was, in the main, necessary. We've had so far $3 trillion in spending, however, this year, with another $4 trillion on the way in a relatively strong economy. And this is excessive spending associated with inflation by virtually the entire economics profession. Again, outside the executive branch of the Biden administration, I'd say they're in something of a political pickle. Everyone agrees more spending is causing inflation. Now, the only kind of, sort of, maybe truth teller on yesterday's shows was Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Now, she blamed the inflation on the COVID pandemic, and I think there is some truth to that assertion. But now she's taking a decent idea way too far. Her new argument is that we won't see an end to inflation until we see an end to the pandemic. But the pandemic is ending. The virus will never end. But the point is, I don't want to argue science here. The point is the economy has reopened, and it will remain reopened. And yes, in the shorter term, economic demand is outstripping economic supplies. There's no excuse for union rules and government regs that stop the ports from operating 24/7. But after 10 months, demand and supply should be in much better balance. Prices should have already stabilized, but they're still skyrocketing. So there's two missing links here. One, Ms. Yellen is not fessing up that all the government spending is stimulating excess demand. That's an easy one. Democrat Larry Summers has that right. So have a number of Republican economists. Now, Ms. Yellen knows better than to deny this. She's a very smart lady. The emergency has been over for 10 months or maybe 11 months. Hence, the emergency spending should be over, but it's not. And second, the emergency Federal Reserve pump priming and money creation should have been over 10 months ago. Quantitative easing and free money should have stopped last winter. Now, putting the 2 points together, it's the excessive Fed that is financing the excessive federal government spending. And that is a lethal situation for higher inflation. Now, coming back to Ms. Yellen, she said that she thought the inflation would stop in the second half of next year. Now, that's a new forecast. I have no idea if it'll be true, but I give her credit for being realistic instead of her other colleagues who are selling baloney. Now, enter Joe Manchin. Follow me on this. This guy is near heroic. He ought to run for president because he keeps saying that we should pause any new spending until the inflation is brought under control. Now, Ms. Yellen is saying second half of next year. So I'm waiting for Senator Manchin to say he'd be happy to consider another spending bill, but not until the second half of next year, in accordance with the apocryphal forecasting of our nation's Treasury Secretary, right? She's the thought leader, and he'd be applying her thought. Republicans ought to jump on this bandwagon. We have a semi-quantitative inflation forecast from the leading economic policymaker. And who knows, Ms. Yellen may be right. But more importantly, we should all fall into line with her view. In fact, her boss should fall into line with her view. No new spending until at least the second half of next year. I'm calling this the Manchin-Yellen hypothesis. I'm bringing them together. They will make a lovely couple. And that's my riff.